Hello, my love, and welcome back to the Energy Expansion Podcast. There is a very high likelihood that this is going to be the shortest episode that we've ever recorded. Actually, this will be the second shortest because we have an episode that is less than 3 minutes long. And it's our first official episode, and I think it's just called Welcome to the Energy Expansion Podcast. I had recorded a few full-length episodes, was getting ready to publish them when we first launched the podcast and realized I should probably have an intro. So I literally grabbed my iPhone, recorded an intro episode that's less than 3 minutes long. You can go check that out just for fun, for novelty, now that we're talking about it. But this is going to be a shorter episode because I don't know if you can tell by the sound of my voice that I'm not feeling amazing today. I'm not feeling like myself. And the blessing of this is it's reminding me of the fact that I very, very rarely get sick. I cannot remember. It might have been this time last year when I got sick. I was really sick in October of last year. Basically, I couldn't get out of bed for 5 days. I do not feel that bad. Trust me, if I felt that bad, I would not be here with you right now. But I woke up, did not feel like myself, had not like a jam-packed day, but a day that I was really looking forward to. I love my business. I love my life. I was going to say Mondays are my favorite day. I talked about this recently on my Instagram stories, how every day is my favorite day, but for different reasons. Does that track? Are you with me on that? So my Mondays each week look relatively similar. I kick off every single Monday morning at 9 a.m. sharp. We do a live Q&A inside of our Energy Expansion Academy Facebook group. And it's literally my favorite way to start not only my day, but the brand new week. And so all of that being said, I had that, and then I had a couple of other things on my calendar, all of which I was really, really looking forward to. And so I'm not unwell enough that I had to clear my schedule, which is funny enough because I might have manifested this. I'll tell you about that in just a second. But did cross my mind not recording a podcast episode today. But we've been so darn consistent, and I really love doing this with you and for you. And so as I was moving throughout my day, there were certain things that I was doing to care for myself physically, mentally, emotionally. And I thought this could actually make a really great episode. What do I do when I'm not feeling my best? How do I show up when maybe I don't feel like it? How can I keep my commitments and also do so in a way that really honors what I'm needing in any given moment, right? So I want to bring you into my day today. And this feels really important because I do want to say that there are aspects of me that I've been actively working on healing over the last several years. I hope I'm not breathing too loud in your ear right now with my nasally breath. But there's definitely this overachiever, energy of the good girl, energy of the one who wants to get it right. One of the wounds that I've identified over the years is fear of disappointing people, even specifically people I love, and that's you. I love you. But I also know what my limit is. I know when I need to say, hey, I need to literally clear my calendar. And today just wasn't that day. And I can make those distinctions really powerfully and really confidently. So it all started this morning. It's so crazy because I felt amazed. I've been feeling so good, insanely good. And I think I've shared that with you from one week to the next. I am on day 10 of a really intense gut reset. I don't think I've told you about this. So right before this 30-day gut reset, I was doing, and I did share this with you on one of our episodes, a 30-day Healthy, Wealthy, Thrive challenge with a very good friend of mine. We're also business partners. Her name is Jolie, and her boyfriend, Michael, is amazing, and he's an herbalist, and he's studied the body, and he takes impeccable care of himself. And for the first time ever, he's packaging his wisdom. And Jolie's been on this journey for over a year with him, and so she leads us so beautifully as well. I was sharing with you on one of our recent podcast episodes, and I love that many of you reached out like, hey, what kind of salt is it? Can you please link that special tea? So I'll get you all the links, anything you need, anything you want. You let me know. And you know, I've got you. You've got this and I've got you is one of my favorite things to say to my people. And so I was doing this Healthy, Wealthy, Thrive challenge. Me and my husband were doing it together. We were making healthy swaps in the kitchen and in other areas of our home and of our life. We were starting every single day off with warm lemon water with specialty sea salt, with freshly juiced celery juice, and then this adaptogen tea. So I've been doing that now for probably close to 50 or 60 days. I've only missed a handful of days with the celery juice while we were traveling, but I've been feeling really, really good. And after that first 30 days, I was feeling so dang good that when they launched the gut reset, which I had a feeling was going to be intense, and oh my gosh, fam, I had no idea how intense it would be, but I'm 10 days in. I'm really freaking proud of myself. My husband came up to me yesterday. He gave me a big hug and he said, I'm really proud of you, which my husband is so sweet, but words of affirmation is not his top love language. It is mine. So it's a stretch for him to slow down and be mindful to speak sweet things like that to me. I often have to ask. I'll say, hey, here's how I'm feeling. Here's what I would like you to affirm or speak over me. You guys are really getting a peek into my psyche and into my marriage. Don't judge me. That I ask him how I want to be held and hugged, like a little tighter, hand here, hand there. Can you adjust here? And he's so game for it. It's so sweet. And if I'm having a bad day, I'll say, I just need you to tell me you love me and everything's gonna be okay. And he will. Gosh, I wish you knew him. I keep asking him if he'll come on the podcast. And he's like, no, dude, you can count me out. And I'm cracking up because I was saying that this is going to be one of our shorter episodes. This episode, who am I kidding, is probably going to be just as long as all the other ones because now that I'm here with you, there's so many fun things I want to tell you. So I digress. But the fact that my husband came up to me, looked me dead in the eyeballs and said, I'm really proud of you. Like he really emphasized it, means the world. It means that this is a big deal. And he didn't have to say these words, but he and I both know that he did not think I could get this far into this reset. So far, this has consisted of taking 9 or 10 different herbal supplements. This is all rooted in herbalism, and it's been so cool and so interesting to learn about all of this. There are morning 1 set of herbs and then morning 2, and then there's 3 sets or phases in the evening. So 5 different times throughout the day, there's a very specific protocol that I'm following. In addition to that, this sounds a little crazy. Don't come at me. So many people, my husband and my mom, but when you really sit with it, you'll get it. It's fruits and vegetables. That's it for 30 days. So for the last 10 days, I have consumed nothing but fruits and vegetables. I had one little confession. There is a sweet treat. It's called a honey mama. If you know, you know, they're so good. And it's all natural ingredients. It's cacao, a little bit of honey, and coconut, and sea salt, Himalayan sea salt. So that's not approved. But I had a very emotional day, one of the days last week, and my emotions got the best of me. And so having 2 bites, literally just 2 bites of a little piece of honey mama was my thing. Other than that, though, I have literally consumed nothing but fruits and vegetables for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you're interested, I will record an entire episode. I probably should because I want to document this. That's not what this episode is about, but I wanted to share that with you because that is one of the many reasons why I have been feeling so phenomenal, so good. And so when I woke up this morning with all of these icky, weird cold and flu symptoms, it really came out of nowhere. My little guy, River, he just got his own room. We just did a room addition within this last month in the 2nd floor of our house. And so his room is right next to ours. We've been working really diligently to try to get him to stay in his room each night. We'll fall asleep. I fall asleep on the floor next to him. He has a little teeny tiny bed, and I lay on the floor next to the bed, and I rub his back, and I hold his hand. And after about 30 minutes, he's out like a light. But he will somehow, at some point in the night, I'm fast asleep. I don't know when it happens. He falls asleep in his room, but then he wakes up next to me in my room. So I wake up to hearing his barking cough. Oh my goodness. If you are a mama, if you are a parent, you know the dreaded barking cough. So that is what wakes me up today. And as I'm starting to wake up, I'm realizing, oh, this is not good. I have my own symptoms. I have this sore throat. I have a headache. I'm congested. I was really clammy. Just hate that feeling of being clammy. Least favorite thing ever. And that's how we woke up today. And so I really quickly realized that I was going to get to make some choices today. Choices that were going to allow me to nourish myself extra well, to move at a pace that felt really good for me, and that would honor how I was going to spend my time. If I was going to show up, if I was going to cancel things, ultimately, I decided I wanted to show up for the things. And I'm really glad I did. I feel really good about every single one of the choices that I made today. And I'm rounding out my day by being here with you. So I started the day with my magical rituals in the kitchen. Like I already mentioned, the things that I've been doing now for probably over 50 days, close to 2 months, my warm lemon salt water, my celery juice, my tea, all of my different herbal supplements that I've been taking. I had my fruit for breakfast. I got my kids dropped off at school. I did so in my jammies because I do that sometimes, and this was one of those days. And it's so funny because just last week on the podcast episode, I'd shared with you this concept that I love, this concept I believe in, which is when you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you do good. And so, little hack here, this doesn't apply to today. Sometimes if I'm not feeling my best, if I'm feeling a little under the weather, I will actually spruce myself up a bit more. Like I will put on something that I feel really nice in. I'll maybe do my hair or my makeup a little bit more than I normally would. And it's a way that I sometimes trick myself into feeling better because, like, we just said it. When you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you do good. This was not necessarily one of those days. As soon as I had my pajama drop-off moment at my kids' school, which my husband was like, are you going to leave the house in that? Like, are you going to take the kids to school while wearing that? I'm like, yeah, I don't get out of the car. He's like, well, what if something happens and you have to get out of the car? I'm like, well, hopefully nothing will happen. That's kind of my thought process most of the time. I had never thought about that. Of course, he thinks about those things. Those things don't cross my mind. But as soon as I got home, I put on a really cozy pair of sweats and a t-shirt, a really soft t-shirt and a cozy sweatshirt. And then I had plenty of time from that moment in between the first thing that I was going to show up to, which is the Energy Expansion Academy live Q&A that we do weekly that I love so much. I had a nice chunk of time, so I actually grabbed a blanket and I walked out to the backyard by the pool. I laid the blanket out. I brought one of my favorite books. I brought my journal, my daily devotional, and popped in my headphones, put on a couple of really great songs, let myself just sort of be in my favorite routines and rituals, and just let the warmth of the sun soak all over me. That shifted my energy in such a powerful way. And I wanted to share that with you. In that moment, I was like, I'm making very simple choices right now that feel like they have a really powerful impact on my nervous system, on my well-being, not just on my physical body, but my mental body, my emotional body, just all of it. And so it can feel counterintuitive when we're not feeling well to go outside. If you're anything like me and most people, your immediate thought might be to stay in bed longer, which, hey, sometimes that's exactly what we need. That's exactly what the doctor would order. So go ahead and do that, just to be cozy, to be horizontal. And in my defense, I actually was horizontal, but I was just outside. There's something so healing all of the time, 100% of the time, no matter how you're feeling, a fresh air and sunshine. And I knew that was the greatest gift I could give myself. So after that, when I had made that commitment to stick to my calendar for the day, I decided that I was going to show up and it didn't have to look perfect. A lot of times, if I'm going to be on camera for a while, which I was for many hours today, I can get a little bit wrapped up with how I look. And today, I wasn't really that worried about it. It wasn't like a full-blown hot mess express, but me being in an oversized sweatshirt, sitting down versus standing up. If you guys don't know, I have a standing desk. I'm actually standing right now. Whenever I'm speaking, teaching, leading anything, I actually do like to stand. It's an energetic thing that has to do with my channel. When I feel my feet firmly planted on the ground and my spine is straight, I just feel like there's this really powerful flow from God, from spirit that can move down me. I feel like energy can get stuck when I'm seated. So if I am in a position to receive, like I was on a class earlier today where I was learning and taking notes, I really wanted to be seated for that. That's what my body was wanting. That's what had me feel most comfortable. I wanted to be in a position that would allow me to rest. Permission over perfection today is where we're going with this. And I wouldn't normally always do that. It's actually really rare for me to sit down ever while I'm working. But when I'm not feeling well, there's little adjustments that I'll make to really honor myself. There's just something so powerful about this for me and hopefully for you, where resting and doing things differently is not something I would previously give myself permission to do. And again, there's just this deep desire to honor what I'm needing in this moment. And it's this really beautiful metaphor, I feel like, for this year, what this year has looked like for me. I have moved slower, honestly, not just professionally, but also personally. There's been this slower, more nourishing pace that I've moved at. And shocker, spoiler alert, everything has worked out really, really well. Honestly, like better than I ever could have imagined. The things that need to get done are done. The people are taken care of. The money is coming in. I'm feeling really, really good. And so it's been this really beautiful illumination of how rest is productive. I feel like I saw it floating around on Instagram memes for years. And intellectually, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. Like, no, I actually get it. It's one thing to intellectually, like in your mind, understand something. And it's a whole nother ballgame when you can actually integrate that into your being. You can embody that. And I just think it's so powerful how you can be an incredible leader and prioritize rest and taking care of yourself. And it's so funny when I say that out loud because it's like, well, duh. In order to be a really powerful, incredible leader, you have to rest. You have to take impeccable care of yourself. They go hand in hand. It's not an option. So little nuggets from a few hours of not feeling well, as you can tell, have been really, really helpful. The other thing is not being afraid to ask the question, what is the bare minimum I can do to honor my commitments and see results? It's so funny because if you've ever gone through or heard me talk about my program, it's a 4-week program called Momentum. This program lifted me out of one of the darkest seasons of my entire life. I will post about it in the show notes. I was deep in postpartum depression after having my third child, my son River, a few years ago. And I, for the first time ever, started looking at the bare minimum as a strategy, which was, again, so foreign to me. Somebody who had spent a majority of her life deeply rooted in high achieving and needing to do the most and having my identity wrapped up in, like, my sense of worthiness was directly connected to how much I could accomplish, how much I could do, how much I could produce. And when you're in the throes of all right, love, real quick pause because I have to tell you about something that is truly life-changing. If you've been in my world for any amount of time, then there is a 99.9% chance that you have heard me talk about Energy Expansion Academy, which is my signature group coaching program where I teach the exact tools, rituals, mindset shifts, that helped me create a life that goes beyond my wildest dreams and has transformed the lives of hundreds of women that I've had the honor of serving. And for the first time ever, it is now available as a self-paced experience. That means you get to move through this powerful transformation on your own terms and your own timing and in full alignment with your life. This is for the woman who's ready to shift her energy, elevate her mindset, and finally become the most confident, fulfilled, and successful version of herself. Without the hustle, without the overwhelm, and without the second guessing. If you've been feeling the nudge to join us inside of EEA, then this, my love, is your sign. You'll find the link in the show notes or just DM me EEA on Instagram and I'll personally send it your way. Now, let's get back to the episode that you came for. Any kind of dense human experience, in my example, it was postpartum depression, all of that goes out the window. I was and always have been really passionate about my business. And I also knew that I couldn't do business in the way that I used to. And so I gave myself permission to focus on the bare minimum. What is the absolute bare minimum I can do to get the absolute best results? And that was the most brilliant thing that I could ever ask myself. And there's pieces of that today. What is the simplest way that I can show up, honor myself, and honor my commitments? One small action. And sometimes that might look like literally canceling everything on your calendar. That's also okay. What's interesting about this, and I mentioned this earlier, I was like, maybe I manifested this. I was having a coaching call, a one-to-one coaching call with one of my coaches and mentors. And a lot of our call was about identity and the way that I see myself and the way that I do things, and me being invited to really look at and redefine things like success and what it means to be an entrepreneur, even more specifically, like a businesswoman, what professionalism means to me. And I started to notice how I had really unrealistic standards for myself. And I started to look at the root of those. And the coach I was talking to this time last week, less than a week ago, was like, have you ever just canceled whatever was on your calendar so you could have like a mental health day? And I was like, no, ma'am, you don't know me that well. No, I don't do that. I said, there have been extreme cases where it literally feels like an emergency, where either I'm super sick, which I think has literally only happened 2 times in my 11 or 12 years of doing this work, or something comes up with my kids where I have to go pick them up from school or I need to take them to urgent care. I have rescheduled things before when there's a last minute emergency, but I have never, ever canceled a meeting or a client session. I still don't know how I feel about this, just because I don't feel it today. I've always been somebody who's really, really, really good at turning it on. We were talking about this, me and my coach, back in the day at my full-time job when I was working for the franchise I was working with, my 9-to-5 job, my corporate job, whatever you want to call it. We always talked about the importance of checking your problems. That was the verbiage. Check your problems at the door. Before you walk through that door to come in for your shift to work, you don't bring any of that stuff in with you. And honestly, I have mixed feelings on this because I can see the value of that. And I can also see where that's not actually very helpful. Like I could make a case for either. And I was sharing this with her. And so she goes, I really hope something doesn't happen. Maybe this was like an energetic threat. I really hope something doesn't happen to where you have to cancel everything. Like you have to get sick. And I was like, no. And here I am. I really don't think that's what that is. It was just funny when I had that aha moment, like, oh, we were just talking about this earlier this week. So there's that. Focusing on the bare minimum. I've used the word nourish a lot today. I think I've used the word nourish more on this podcast episode than ever before. And I think I've been using that word more and more recently while I've been on this health journey. As I mentioned before, I was looking at ways to nourish my body, extra hydration, being outside a little bit more than I normally would, prioritizing sunlight. I've been hyper focused on whole foods now for the last 10 days, more so than ever before. I've been prioritizing pleasure and coziness with my favorite sweatshirt and these soft clothes, right? So I've really focused on how can I nourish myself so that I can honor what's real and how I'm feeling, and also show up for the things that matter to me that feel important. There's this piece around regulating my nervous system. So that was where stretching, I did a little bit of gentle movement. I have this morning practice that I've been playing with where I'm dancing. Not anything crazy, but just gentle movement, intuitive movement with my body as I'm listening to music. So all of that was really, really helpful this morning. And there was also this really beautiful shift into gratitude. I don't love not feeling well, not feeling like myself. But like I mentioned earlier, it created this really beautiful contrast, and it made me realize instantly, like very early on in the day, oh my goodness, I cannot remember the last time I felt this way. I cannot remember the last time I was this sick. I'm not even like that sick, but I haven't had any cold or flu symptoms at all in a really long time. And that made me feel so, so, so grateful for getting to experience such a long stretch of time of feeling so well. And so I'm just going to take this as a sign that my body needs a little extra rest and TLC. And as someone who's often talking about what is the most aligned thing that you can do in the moment, what is the next right step, I'll often be in that inquiry for myself. I will pose those questions for my clients. For me today, it is resting and slowing down and taking really good care of myself and nourishing myself. That is the most beautiful, powerful, bold, aligned thing that I can do. And so that's what I'm going to do. I hope that this episode landed for you. I hope that you don't actually need any of this information, because I want you to feel so good. I want you to feel so well all of the time. And also, if we're being totally realistic, we are well into the fall, which is going to lead into winter. And I think that those are, for whatever reason, that is where little bugs and illnesses can float around a little bit more. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for me. But feeling really empowered and how you choose to care for yourself is really, really brilliant and beautiful. And so I hope this comes in handy. And even if you're not sick, I'm sure you could tell that by so much of what I shared here with you, these things apply all of the time. Focusing on giving yourself permission over perfection, giving yourself permission to focus on the bare minimum, doing things to intentionally nourish your body, finding ways to regulate your nervous system, the power of gratitude, and even contrast. What do I mean by contrast? There are things that happen in life where it's like very, very clear when something is working versus when it's not working, when there is something really beautiful that we desire versus something that we're like, oh man, I don't like this. Those moments are really beautiful. Those moments are really clarifying. Those moments hold codes and wisdom. Just like today, I had this massive wave of gratitude for how good I've been feeling for so long. And I'm going to set the intention that I'm going to go to bed tonight. And when I wake up tomorrow, we're going to be back to feeling just as amazing as I have been for the last few months. That being said, I love you tons. Thank you for tuning in. I'm so curious to hear how this lands for you. And I always love to hear from you. Before I hop off, I want to let you know that there are a few of you who have messaged me over the last few weeks with questions and topics for podcast episodes like, hey, Dani, can you tell me a little bit more about this? Or Dani, I'm really curious about that. So I want you to know that those custom curated episodes based on what you're wanting to know, some of my teachings, my expertise, and even really vulnerable parts of my story, those are in the queue. They're coming up. I'm so excited. There is nothing that brings me more joy than knowing that I can create episodes that are going to really meet you where you're at and create a big impact for you. So I love you so much, and we'll see you on the next one.